Hi everyone, Julia here recording this, July 22nd, 2025, and just watching the world soap opera. So insane, so much of it just has to be scripted for whatever reason. I remember back in the day, had our soap operas all during the early afternoon, back when there were stay-at-home moms, and all my children were Life to Live, General Hospital, Young and Restless, As the World Turns, on and on. I did watch some of those, as well as Oprah. But now, we only have one soap opera, and that's just current events, that, or so they say. You know, it's so hard to discern what's real anymore. That much we can know. It's hard to discern what's real anymore. But other than that, wow. What a time that we're in. And, yeah, we just have to be the observer and not get absorbed and put all our energy into all the craziness and negativity. I had to stop and get a sticker out of my shoe. Not all of nature is kind, as we know. Nature can be very vicious. But, yeah. The show is just going on and on. Who knows what is what anymore. And we do know one thing, that we're allowed to know in this day and time, and the masses have access to this information that only used to be for secret societies, and that is that we are eternal, immortal, divine creator beings, and this experience is just something for us to observe and learn from, and to not get bogged down in. Just passing through. Bill Hicks used to say, it's just a ride. So yeah, you know, there's just so much fear-mongering. It just keeps getting amped up on the daily between wars and AI and who knows, you know, COVID. People are still scared of COVID. It's like, what? Pay attention. But, yeah. We don't have, I mean, we just have access to so much information now. Everybody knows what's going on. I know I've never liked reading newspapers just because of the awkwardness of trying to read a newspaper. Very unuser friendly. And plus, you know, it was never uplifting. Hearing about this and hearing about that and how bad this is over here. And, you know, now that's been amped up from newspaper to touch of our fingertips. And, yeah, and just so much information. And again, we don't know what's real, and we haven't known what's real for a long time, but now it's even more harder to, like I said in the beginning, discern what the truth is. And that's something we can't really do with our logical aspect, so we have to tap into our intuitive side to really navigate. Like, I was just watching a Stephen Colbert, and he was talking about oligocracy, like algorithm controlled government, and he's like, well, I don't know what the solution is. Well, the solution is to tap into our so-called supernatural abilities. You know, that's one of the things they're trying to do with Neuralink, is enable telepathy in humans, but we're already capable of that, and most of us are utilizing telepathy all the time, whether we know it or not. So, that's really the only solution, because that keeps you close to that whole perspective of you being an eternal spiritual energy being, and not just what you're experiencing in this lifetime. So, yeah, I think the more we can tap into that kind of thing, the more we can get away from just trying to get as much as we can for ourselves and try to help other people. Get into communities, because he did say in that YouTube that I just watched, Steve Colbert, about people just aren't going to ditch the tech. That's just not going to happen. So what is the solution if you don't do that? Well, get your skills honed in on, especially your intuition, and you intuit what's right, what's true. And that's always been the most reliable way to do it, is with our intuition. But of course that got programmed out of us before we even went to school from our parents, You don't have an imaginary friend, don't lie, So here we are, trying to find our imaginary friends again. And what we really need to do is just sharpen our intuitive skills, trust, don't be fearful. That's the worst thing we can do, is be fearful. There's nothing to fear. Everything's all okay. And yeah, again, with all current events, things like that, the best strategy is to be the observer, not get caught up in it, not put your energy into it one way or the other, whether you love it or hate it, and focus on how you want things to be, because we really do affect the future with our intentions. So yeah, that's one of the biggest things we can do, besides nurturing and our intuitive side, is to keep our thoughts on how we want things to be. No sense in thinking about the past. So if you're not in the now all the time, which is kind of tricky to do, then better off thinking about how you would like things to be. Not worry about how you don't want them to be, as I often say. Alright everyone, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Remember to stay focused on the good and how you want things to be, and of course help others if you can.